Hi everyone, welcome to this latest karate diary video. I know if you've been following my videos for a while, you'll know that I haven't been training very much lately because of my chronic fatigue syndrome. It's absolutely wiping me out, which means I just haven't been able to get to the dojo. But having said that, I'm still very interested in karate and what it can bring to the rest of my life. So I've been interested in thinking about what is it that I've learnt in the dojo that I can actually use in the rest of my life and in the rest of the world. I posed this question to some people that I know. I've got a bit of response back from various people, and so I've got coming up 3 clips of different people, and then a couple more clips from Gashgo I went to earlier this year, and then I'm going to put my own thoughts into what I think about what I personally have learnt from the dojo that I can bring into the rest of the world. So this first clip coming up is from Sensei Les. He does a slightly different style of karate to what I do, but he's a friend of mine. I've been to his dojo a couple of times. So this is basically what his thoughts are on this.
Hi, my name is Les Bubka and I'm an instructor in Shinado Karate. Karate benefited my life a lot. I used to suffer with anxiety and very low self-esteem. That's why I took up the karate. Because of that, now I'm actually teaching seminars. I'm quite a confident person. The life took me to the part that karate actually I'm using in my real life work. We're running a program of martial arts for mental health, where I can pass my experience of fighting head-on with an anxiety and a bit of a depression from time to time. And the structure of the karate is very useful to help building up this self-confidence you see through the grading, how you develop, how much more you can achieve, which most of the people finding helpful for them to counteract or help with battling the depression or anxiety.
Okay, so this next video coming up is from my sensei John, and I asked him also the same question. What is it that you can learn in the dojo that you can bring into the rest of the world and learn in the dojo that you can apply outside?
For me, Kushido is an essential life skill. So I know it's a martial art, but I don't see it as that. I see it as an essential life skill that, in my opinion, everybody should learn, children right through. And it is actually the element that you're speaking about, Terry, of taking what I do here and applying it to my outside life that is the biggest thing for me. It's been the biggest discovery I've made more than anything. I mean, it goes back to when I had no interest in martial arts or anything like that, and then just one day, 22 years ago, I decided I needed to do one. Went and looked at a few systems, didn't like what I saw, even though I knew nothing about it, just didn't feel right. And then just by chance discovered Kushido, went into the dojo, and that was it. The rest, as they say, was history. I still don't know why that day I did it. Well, I didn't know at the time, but as I've been training for the 22 years now, I've learned that it is actually, I've been learning a life skill that I needed in my life. And it's amazing. So I can give you some examples. I mean, it ranges from work situations. So before I did this, I would not have had the confidence to stand up in front of my peers at a conference and present. Even things like driving. I did genuinely have an incident once where just for some reason I was driving on the road, slowed down, instinctively slowed down, and then within a few seconds a kid ran out front chasing the football. Had I not slowed down, I would have hit that kid. It was just instinct, and that kind of leads on to something else. And by training in Kushido, I discovered the power of ki energy. And from that, having awareness and just kind of picking up things almost before they happen. And it sounds, a bit out there, but it's it's absolutely true. Which led me to Reiki, which is the other side of the art. We've got to bear in mind what we are learning here is an art, it's a life skill. It's not a sport as such. But actually, in terms of the things, the elements of the system that I've taken from it are relaxation, being grounded, using my posture, being upright, good breathing, being upright, let somebody sit up like that, being able to breathe properly, and you can use that in any situation. So I've used it, when I am playing sports, I've used it then. You relax, and if you watch sports people, there's a lot of what we're doing now. You watch tennis players, and they're not just using their arms to hit the ball; they're using their hips and everything, and that comes from, and that's what we learn in the dojo. So for me, Kushido, not so much a martial art, not so much a fighting thing for me. It's all about being probably the most essential life skill that you could ever learn.
This next clip is from Senpai Ray. He's been training in karate for a long time. He used to do a more sports style competition based karate before moving on to what we do now is like the more traditional style. So he's got perspective from both sides.
Obviously a big part of martial arts is a mental attitude towards training and life in general. When you start off, you learn all your basic moves. Helps you get a little bit fitter and so on and so forth, but the mental part comes in as you get higher up the grades. You start to really focus on your technique, but of course that can go to the outside world. When we're doing our job at home, doing the washing up or some horrible chore like that, you can just get into that focused mind and crack on with it and get it done. And then, before you know it, it's over, just like a regular class. Other than that, all you can do is keep plodding on and training. Obviously, the more you train, the better you get. If you only train once in a little while, you're going to stagnate and not get anywhere, and that's what happens generally in life. If you don't enjoy your job or whatever, you stagnate, you get grumpy, and it just doesn't work. So by having an outlet, doing some training, the physical side and the mental side can only help you in whatever you do in life.
Now these next clips are from Shian Lawrence of South Africa and Shian Hans of Holland. Now what they're talking about here isn't directly related to this video because they're making much longer speeches. Because when I went to the Gashka in the evening, the people give speeches about various different things about karate, Budo, martial arts and other things. So although I've got many hours worth of footage of talking, not all of it is really relevant to this video, but these two clips here I felt were quite relevant to the question, so that's why I've included them here. So the first thing you'll see is from Shian Lawrence, and then it will go to Shian Hans.
And in my opinion, training it's almost like being educated. You start off in grade school or whatever you call it here, grade 1, and the teacher teaches you everything. And then later on you go through secondary school, and then afterwards you might go for an apprenticeship or university or something else. And as you grow up within your education, you always have a teacher or an advisor. But the role of that teacher or advisor becomes less involved on a day-to-day basis. And eventually, if you're going to get a doctorate or something, you have a thesis, you do most of the work by yourself, but you always have an advisor just to have a chat to you every now and again to see how you're going and how you can improve things or for advice. But eventually at the end of your doctorate, if there is such a thing as the end of your studies, actually you're adding to the pool of knowledge of the subject area that you're studying. And it's like this in the martial arts as well, that the more senior you get, the more you got to actually put your understanding in, bring your understanding to what's happening. The teacher is there just to help you to understand what you already know. And if you expect that your teacher is always going to be putting information into you all the time, then you're actually going to limit your development in the martial arts at a senior level.
That I've been training with the martial arts, and that is that people tell you lots and lots of things, teachers, that you do not always want to take. I had exactly the same experience. So I've made myself a little cupboard behind me. Because if I ignore what they tell me and throw it away, I can't read it again. So what I do now is if I don't understand what I don't want to hear, I put it in the cupboard for reading later. Beautiful book from Musashi, Book of Five Rings. Read it when you're first level. Read it when you're first dan. And every dan you get, read it again. And you'll read a different book. I do not normally talk in my private life too much about my martial arts. But when every now and then sometimes it comes up, people say, did you ever use it? That's a neat trick. You just say, that's a good question. Give yourself some time to think about it. And you wait a little bit and you say, yeah, every day. The energy, the way we think about, the way we do, I use every day. When I go to my clients and I'm not quite sure if I get through, I give them energetically a little knock and see if they're still standing. What is their reaction to my energy? This is how I find out if I can impact them, if I can touch them energetically and make a connection so we can do business. So I use it every day, even in private life. It is part of you. It is part of you. Translation goes on. It is part of you, it's part of me. It is fun. But did I really ever use it? Was the next question, of course. And yes, I did. I was cut off by a car on the freeway. So the guy was very upset. It was a mistake, I made a mistake, but he was very, very upset. I was lucky. I had just come out of training that morning. I was still in my training suit. So I stopped the car, he came and charged at me, big time. And he's gonna really, really hit me, so he said. So I didn't really know what to do. So the only thing I could think of at that moment was, okay, you can hit me once, but then it's my turn. And somehow the calmest way I said it, he was, okay, maybe this is not a good idea. So he continued shouting and screaming, but for the rest nothing happened. So settled. Maybe I should have gone and have a beer with him. So yes, you can use it. You don't always have to hit someone. Maybe just being passive is enough. Maybe a smart remark of being in balance is enough.
So for me personally, what I've learned from the dojo, confidence is a main thing. When I'm out and about in a group of people, I'm generally quite quiet. You see some people who like to be the loud, noisy ones, like, yeah, look at me, look at me, look at me, and I'm not like that. I like to be, fairly quiet. I don't want to be the centre of attention. I've never wanted that. My ego has never demanded that. But if a situation occurs that requires someone to step up, then I have the confidence to do that. If, like, only the other day I was on the train home from Winter Wonderland and there were some drunk people on there, and you could see other people kind of shying away, kind of getting small and hiding, trying not to be seen. And it didn't bother me. They weren't a threat. They were friendly. Yeah, they were pissed out of their faces. But it's just one example where I get the confidence to be able to just, this isn't a threat, this isn't a problem. I'm passive, you're passive, we're all friendly here, it's not a problem. And I find also one of the benefits I get, like if I'm teaching the children, I find that this is very beneficial for the rest of the world, because you have to be confident, even if you don't know what you're talking about. Just fake it till you make it, because if a child asks you a question, you don't know the answer, then you've lost them for the whole class. So you've got to project that air of confidence and you know what you're talking about. Obviously you're not lying to them and just giving them some lame excuse, but like, I'll get back to you, I'll find out, sort of thing. But again, of the confidence thing, to be able to just step up and do things like I've performed on stage representing my country, not in competitions, just like at demonstrations and that sort of thing. If you can do that, if you can stand in front of a class and teach, you can pretty much stand in front of anyone and have the confidence to You know, nothing really, there isn't any situation really that I find too overwhelming, and that is all down to the karate. I'm thinking quite often with our beginners or the juniors, if they've been training for a long time, long enough to know the sequence to the warm-up, and then sometimes we'll get them out the front to do the warm-up, they don't know what to do. I mean, they should know, I mean, they do know what to do because they know the sequence, but they completely freeze and they forget things and they don't know what they're doing, and they've suddenly got all these people, they're all friendly, you know, they know, it's not like it's strangers, and they just stand there and they're like, don't know what to do, I can't remember the warm-up, you know, I've only done it a few thousand times, I can't remember, and it's like, start with the head, you know, up and down, left and right, and it's like, okay, and but to actually stand in front of a class and teach, and quite often teaching, you kind of make it up because you never quite know who's going to turn up. You might have a plan. I used to, when I started helping out teaching with the kids, I would have like a plan works out, but that never really works because you don't know who's going to turn up, so 9 times out of 10 you're kind of just making it up as you go along, so you've got to think fast, which obviously, as you know, because I got chronic fatigue and I get the brain fog, which I've mentioned before, it's like, oh crap, I can't think. But then it kind of forces you, it forces the brain to like just do something, you know, if all else fails, key on. There's always key on. But again, it's more than just the confidence for me, it's just the whole way of life, like posture, standing upright, recognising a situation that could be hostile and kind of averting it, just being, I can't use the correct terminology. Renchi Paul, he was Xian Paul at the time, he's like the head of my style in Europe, was talking about being like rounded. I can't phrase it quite how he did it, this was a long time ago, and he was saying if someone, you know, they're looking to be aggressive towards you, they're going to look for a chink in your armour or a weakness, but if you're like rounded like a ball, then they just deflects off. The way he said it was better. So to just recognise these situations, don't give anyone a reason to attack. It's not about being like in your face. I'm not being hostile, I'm not being aggressive, I'm not being overly passive either. I'm just kind of like, alright, you know, I can see you're there, you can see I'm here, there's no reason for any conflict, you know, and just move on. I'm not wording it quite right, I might come back to that and try and phrase it a little bit better. But it is just generally, I mean, everything I do, I mean, although, as I said, I'm not training right now because of my fatigue, I still, in my mind, I'm thinking karate, the way, just the way you interact with other people and the respect with other people, to respect people below you who want to learn, and respect people above you who are teaching, and even the teachers themselves are still learning, and I get that from that, and also asking questions. Ask questions all the time, and I got that from my karate, because in my particular style we're encouraged to ask questions all the time. I've seen some other styles where they kind of like the person at the top, the sensei, is like, you do it like this, don't ask why, just like this. And whereas in my style, very, very encouraged to ask questions, always have been, and there's been, you know, a few changes over the years, but one thing that's always remained very, very consistent is the openness and the fact they want you to ask questions. So my battery's about to die and I'm not sure where my charger is, so I'm going to end the video quickly before my camera dies. If you like this, please subscribe, hit the bell, thanks, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.